The latest on protests erupting on college campuses with some new arrests overnight. ABC's Zoreen Shah has a roundup for us this morning. Good morning, Zoreen.
Good morning. Students at least 48 college campuses that we know of are protesting. Officials at Washington University in St. Louis say about 80 people were arrested overnight. At USC, students reoccupied Alumni Park overnight. LAPD was out in full force surrounding them. Our local affiliate KBC reported someone spray painted the words "Say No to Genocide" at the bottom of Tommy Trojan's statue right there. Closer to you guys at Columbia University, negotiations remain ongoing between student protesters and the university about clearing out the encampment on the school's campus. Police say there were no protesters arrested yesterday or the day before, but demonstrators continue on campuses across New York City. Important to note, though, that a vast majority of these protests are peaceful. In terms of what these protesters are asking for, they want their schools to cut ties with Israel, and they also want them to call for a ceasefire. At Columbia, hundreds of pro-Israel protesters have also...
Well, police in a town near Seattle are investigating 3 shocking incidents where babies overdosed on fentanyl. One of those children died. The overdoses all happening within a span of 5 days. Let's go to Christina Coleman. She has more in this story now, and she's live in Los Angeles. Christina.
Hi, Arthel. 3 victims under the age of 2 years old suffered from fentanyl overdoses, and one of them died. The incidents happened in these 3 locations in the city of Everett, about 30 miles north of Seattle. The overdoses took place just within a 5-day time span between Saturday of last week and this past Wednesday. A spokesperson for the Everett Police Department shared with me the range of emotions that some people are feeling in the community right now after learning about these disturbing incidents involving babies and fentanyl.
Outrage, sadness, confusion, obviously. And those are emotions that the department shares as well. The frequency of this in that short amount of time is certainly unheard of, at least in my career.
Yes, very disturbing incidents within a very short time frame. Police found an 18-month-old unresponsive in an apartment Wednesday, and despite life-saving efforts, the child died. And just a few hours earlier, a 6-month-old baby was found in another apartment with trouble breathing. The baby was given Narcan and survived. And on Saturday, Everett emergency crews found an unresponsive 11-month-old at a house. Fortunately, the baby survived as well. Police do not believe the cases are connected, and they have not released details on how the babies came in contact with the synthetic opioid as this investigation continues. The city is warning residents of the dangers of fentanyl on social media, noting it can be very potent to a baby or toddler's smaller body. And on a federal level, the CDC is warning people too. In a video, they note how fentanyl is up to 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine.
It only takes the tiniest amount to cause a fatal overdose. A fraction of a raindrop, or 3 grains of salt.
Now, as for the city of Everett, it's located in Snohomish County, where fentanyl is a growing problem. Last year, at least 269 people died from opioid overdoses in that area. Arthel?
Shocking. Christina Coleman, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
President Biden's appearance overnight at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. ABC's Mary Alice Parks was there for the event, and she's here now with more. Mary Alice, good morning.
Yeah, Will, good morning. There's a long tradition of these dinners. Entertainers, politicians, journalists together for a night, celebrating free speech, roasting each other a little bit. Over the last 100 years, every president has participated in at least one, with the exception of Donald Trump.
God bless America.
It was a night of toasts and jokes, President Biden landing some punchy one-liners at the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner.
I really feel great. I'm campaigning all over the country. Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. I've always done well in the original 13 colonies.
Right off the bat, the president taking jabs at his political rival.
I'm a grown man running against a 6-year-old. Age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me.
Saturday Night Live comedian Colin Jost hosting.
Can we just acknowledge how refreshing it is to see a president of the United States at an event that doesn't begin with a bailiff saying all rise?
Former President Trump's criminal trial providing ample fodder for the night, as well as the age of both the candidates.
It's after 10 p.m. Sleepy Joe is still awake, while Donald Trump has spent the past week falling asleep in court every morning.
The president ending on a more serious note, honoring the freedom of the press.
There are some who call you the enemy of the people. That's wrong and it's dangerous. You literally risk your life.
The Tesla chief, Elon Musk, has met government officials in Beijing. Chinese state media is reporting that the tech entrepreneur is there by invitation for the promotion of international trade. They have discussed data and technology relating to electric vehicles. Tesla has been facing a price war with Chinese brands in the electric vehicle market. It has recently said it will lay off 10% of its global workforce. We can now speak to our business reporter, David Waddell, who's in the newsroom. So, David, why is Mr. Musk in China?
Well, Mr. Musk's challenge is, amongst other things, that he's trying to sell more units of his Tesla company's full self-driving software. That's the software that allows its cars to operate autonomously with a driver behind the wheel but not operating it. And that software is in use in North America, in the US, in Canada. It's also been requested by Chinese drivers, Chinese customers, but it's not available in those markets yet. So Mr. Musk, here he is in Beijing a little earlier, meeting Chinese officials. He wants to navigate that challenge of getting the self-driving software operating there. But to do that, he needs access to Tesla data, which is currently held in Shanghai and is unable to leave Chinese borders because of Chinese regulations.
I imagine the Chinese market is one of the biggest markets for electric vehicles, but also Tesla's biggest competitors are Chinese brands. So the Chinese government want to protect its industry?
Absolutely. I'll just start with this. Among the people that Mr. Musk's been meeting is the Premier Li Qiang, and he said that relationship between China and Tesla is a successful example of Sino-US economic and trade cooperation. That's according to Chinese state media a short time ago. He also said that as far as he was concerned, foreign firms would always be welcome in China. They're happy for Tesla to compete in China, but they also want Chinese firms, among them the Chinese brand BYD, which is China's biggest EV manufacturer, to be able to operate and compete with Tesla, both in China and internationally, along with another number of other firms such as the SAIC Motor Corporation, Xiaomi, which is better known for smartphones. And let me show you this. This is a car by a company called XPeng Motors, which produces not only EVs, but here you see a flying vehicle, and it's also producing its own form of full self-driving software that is designed to compete with Tesla.
It's a pleasure to have our friend Professor John Yoo, UC Berkeley Law School, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, Hoover Institution visiting fellow, very busy but not too busy to not be able to come here. Thank you. John Yoo, what do you make of my points? I mean, the reason we're in the Supreme Court is because the Department of Justice, this Attorney General, and this prosecutor are doing things that normal administrations will not do. They're pushing the edge of the envelope in every respect, no?
Mark, I think you nailed it in your monologue. I'm so glad you brought that out, because everyone, of course, is talking about the Supreme Court and what are they going to be doing about immunity. The Supreme Court has never had to hear a case like this because no president in the history of the Republic has tried to prosecute one of his predecessors. That is crossing a Rubicon, and it creates a terrible incentive for future presidents, because now they always have to be worried. They always have to be looking over their shoulder that some president in the future is going to go after them. So what you have here is the absence of statesmanship, leadership, common sense. There are no doubt presidents in the past who might have done things that other people might have thought had been criminal, but future presidents always thought it's in the best interest of our country to pardon a Nixon, to get past controversies and look to the future and do what's best for the American people. Unfortunately, it's Joe Biden who has triggered this constitutional crisis by continuing to press this special counsel investigation. And that's where the fault really lies in all of this.
And you know, John, I'm listening to some of these justices, and they have been sucked into this world. I mean, I'm listening to Barrett. Is that private conduct? Is that official conduct? I mean, do they actually think these 9 justices are going to sit there and come up with a meaningful definition to apply in all circumstances when a president is sitting there under God knows what conditions, making decisions, having to make decisions and wonder? And I heard Judge Jackson say, but they have all the lawyers in the world. What are they going to have? Criminal defense lawyers sitting around them on determining whether they're going to hit this place or hit that place or make these decisions? They're buying into this whole thing because it's Donald Trump. What is the potential, truly, for doing permanent damage to separation of powers, the power of the presidency, and empowering future administrations to go after past administrations like they do in these fascist and Marxist regimes?
If Donald Trump wins this case, it will be because of that exact point. It's because let's just stop and talk about the future, because that's what's important. And the question is, what is this going to do to presidents when they have to make the hardest decisions for the country? We want them to think about, oh, is my successor or my political opponent in the next election, who's already going to get the nomination from his party, are they going to turn the power of the government against me? What we'll end up doing is we'll have presidents who won't want to exercise any leadership. They won't take any risks. They won't make the tough calls because they're going to be worried that some successor there is going to want to throw them in jail. And isn't that?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.